Alright guys, so I'm at a website, mass.gov, damage caused by roadway defects. We make every effort to take care of roadway issues, but it's not always possible to timely discover, clean up, or make repairs. As a result, you may get a flat tire or incur other damage to your vehicle. There are risks when traveling on our roads: potholes, bumps, ruts, car parts, debris, etc. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 81, Section 18 controls both what our courts deem defects in the road and the rules that Mass DOT must follow if we receive notice from you. A defect is anything in the condition of the way that renders it unsafe or inconvenient for ordinary travel. Both this statute and the case law state that there can be no recovery for property damage, only personal injury, limited to $4,000 in actions against the Commonwealth due to road defects. But if our investigation finds that the area was in an active construction zone, we will forward your claim to the contractor of the record. So that's what your life is worth, $4,000. Which brings me to this case, which happened in Boston in July of 2006. Alright guys, so this article from the NewYorkTimes.com was written by Pam Bellick, July 11th, 2006. Huge slabs of concrete weighing at least 12 tons fell from the ceiling of one of the Big Dig tunnels in Boston late Monday night, crushing a woman to death in a car. Alright guys, so a ton is 2,000 pounds. So 12 tons is 24,000 pounds. So here's the woman, Milena Del Valle, and her husband, Angel Del Valle. And here is another photo of Milena Del Valle. It was the first time in the massive highway project's long history that someone riding through one of the tunnels had been killed by an apparent construction failure. But the catastrophe follows a series of leaks and other problems that have resulted in investigations and raised questions about the safety and management of parts of the recently completed $14.6 billion Big Dig, the central highway system through Boston. Governor Mitt Romney, who has long criticized the management of Massachusetts Turnpike Authority, a quasi-independent agency which oversees the Big Dig, said Tuesday he would take steps to fire its chairman, Matthew Amarillo. People should not have to drive through the turnpike tunnels with their fingers crossed, Mr. Romney said. He added, I don't think anyone can feel safe driving through a tunnel system where just last night someone got killed by a 3-ton piece of concrete falling on their car. The accident occurred around 11 p.m. Monday in a 200-foot section of tunnel that links Interstate 93 in the Massachusetts Turnpike to the Ted Williams Tunnel, a route leading to Logan International Airport. At least 4 3-ton concrete panels fell when a metal tie anchoring them to the ceiling gave way. Milena Del Valle, a 38-year-old restaurant worker from the Jamaica Plains section of Boston, was crushed in the passenger seat of a black 1991 Buick. Her husband, Angel Del Valle, 46, who was driving, managed to climb out of a window opening no more than a foot wide and was only slightly injured. State officials immediately shut down the connector tunnel where the accident occurred, as well as the Ted Williams Tunnel. They began removing other ceiling panels to examine them and try to determine what happened. The state police, Federal Highway Administration, Attorney General, and United States Attorney began investigations of the accident. Mr. Amarillo said the 20 by 40 foot panels form a kind of drop ceiling that allows air to circulate in the tunnel. The panels were put up in 1999, attached to the ceiling by metal tiebacks, which are affixed with a kind of epoxy. There are about 17 other sections of Big Dig tunnels that use a similar epoxy method. In most other parts of the tunnels, the metal tiebacks are attached to metal rails and affixed directly in the ceiling, but in those 17 sections, a real system is not possible, he said. Mr. Amarello said the connector tunnel opened in 2003 and was in the process of undergoing an inspection, which occurs every 3 years. Boston Mayor Thomas Menino was also critical of the Turnpike Authority. "We don't need a 6-month study," said Mr. Menino, demanding more information about the connector tunnel used a different ceiling anchoring system. "We need an immediate reaction and action by the different authorities so that we can reassure the public as they drive into the city or drive over to the airport that the tunnel is safe to go through." The Big Dig project was finally completed this year, after a decade and a half of construction. The 8 miles of tunnels and highways and accompanying parks and development was called the largest public works project in the United States and the most expensive stretch of highway ever. In addition to cost overruns and leaks, questions have been raised over the years about construction methods, and just 2 months ago, 6 employees of a company that provided most of the concrete for the Big Dig were indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of using substandard mixtures in the project. The suspects had been managers, Aggregate Industries Northeast Region, a company that was paid $105 million and delivered 135,000 truckloads of concrete to the project. The suspects were charged with fraud and conspiracy in delivering and approving the use of 5,000 truckloads from 1996 to 2005 that did not meet specifications. In spite of those charges, officials said safety experts had assured them that the tunnel was safe. Alright guys, so this is from Reuters.com. Boston Tunnel settlement to cost builders $458 million. The lead contractor and consultants on Massachusetts Big Dig roadway project have agreed to pay $458 million to settle an inquiry into defects in the tunnels that led to a fatal accident in 2006. The settlement would allow lead contractor Bechtel Parsons Brinckerhoff to avoid criminal charges related to the death of Malena Del Valle, a 38-year-old woman killed when a 3-ton chunk of tunnel ceiling fell and landed on her car. The agreement signals one of the final chapters in the 16-year, $15 billion Big Dig saga, the United States' costliest public works project. The project replaced an aging overhead highway that cut Boston's downtown in two with 7.8 miles of underground roadway, topped with parks connecting the city to its airport. Under the settlement, Bechtel Infrastructure will pay $357.1 million. Its joint venture partner, Parsons Brinckerhoff, will pay $50 million, with insurers and consultants paying the remaining $51.1 million. The bulk of the funds, more than $400 million, will go into a fund to pay for future repairs to the project. The contractors remain financially responsible for any additional catastrophic events causing more than $50 million in damages, but only up to $100 million per incident. This agreement does not relieve Bechtel Parsons Brinckerhoff from liability for any future catastrophic events that occur over the next 10-year period. We understand and acknowledge with this resolution that our performance did not meet our commitment to the public or our own expectations. We deeply regret the tragic death of Malena Del Valle. Massachusetts Attorney General Martha Coakley said the state could have brought criminal charges over the fatal collapse, but the maximum penalty the corporate defendants would have faced would be a $1,000 fine. "We can't send corporations to jail," Coakley said. "The amount of money that has been paid and will be paid over the next several days and months far outweighs what we could have accomplished, certainly in a criminal indictment." Privately owned Bechtel Parsons Brinkerhoff, state authorities and other contractors still face a civil lawsuit brought by Milena Del Valle's family, including her husband Angel. He was in the car with her on the July 2006 night of the collapse, but crawled to safety. A federal investigation found the collapse occurred because contractors had used the wrong grade of adhesive to suspend the tunnel's massive ceiling panels. The concrete panels are suspended below the tunnel's top to allow for airflow. Massachusetts authorities in September 2007 charged the company that provided the adhesive, Powers Fasteners of Brewster, New York, with involuntary manslaughter. That case is pending. This article is from the BostonHerald.com, $28 million settlement in fatal Big Dig collapse. Alright guys, so there can be no recovery for property damage, only personal injury, limited to $4,000. So now you know why families end up filing lawsuits against these large construction companies. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.